Hello, welcome to the Daily Fantasy Flex Podcast, the NFL edition. I am your host, Bryan Mears. As always, I am joined by fellow FantasyLabs guys, Matthew Freedman and Peter Jennings, a.k.a. CSU Ram 88. And this week we have Sean Koerner back, a.k.a. the odds maker on Twitter. He's the Director of Predictive Analytics for Stats, prop goat. We got a lot of love for all of the great props that he made. What was it, like a month or two ago? So the people demanded Sean be back on the pod. So Sean's back on the pod. How are you, man?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, glad to have you on. All right, so let's get into it, guys. We're going to hit on some of the donkey takes and the good takes from last week in a little bit here. But let's dive right into our show. We're going to bring back the real or fake segment. We skipped it last week. We went over some of the trades that happened last week. So we're going to get back into it. Real or fake segment. I'm going to ask each of these guys to give me one real trend that will continue this season and one fake one. It could be from week 9. It could be from the first half of the year, whatever they are thinking. Freeman, I'll start with you. What's things that are standing out to you this week?
Well, I think one of the most surprising games of the week and really the season was the 51-23 old-fashioned shellacking that the Eagles put on the Broncos without Jason Peters, without Zach Ertz, without Jordan Hicks, Ronald Darby. So I think what's real is that this Eagles offense is very much real. They are scoring 31.44 points per game, second in the league. They are third in the league with 7.78 Vegas plus minus. So on average, they are outscoring their implied total by almost 8 points per game. They've actually done that 8 out of 9 games this year, which is like a prolific rate that's very hard for teams to do. They've added Jay Ajayi. They're going on bye, so they're going to be adding more wrinkles to their offense. So they have a difficult second half of the season with games against the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Rams. But I think this offense is very much real. And what I think is fake, going to the other side of this game, I think the Broncos defense as a scary unit, that is fake, CSU Ram 88. Sorry to let you know. It's not that the defense is bad. It's just that they are no longer a defense that should induce fantasy fear. So they are last in the league with a 4.53 Vegas opponent plus minus. So that means on average, teams are outscoring their implied total against them by 4.53 points. They are last in the league with a 2-6 record in terms of that opponent implied total. So in only 2 of 8 games this year have they held opposing teams below their implied total. Like, that's last in the league. It's not good. Vance Joseph, who seems like he could have a promising future, right now as a rookie head coach, I think the game is just a little too tough for what they're dealing with, especially with an offense that cannot sustain drives. I think that's a big part of what's happening with this defense. But I think in general, it's fake, the idea that you have to be scared of this Broncos defense moving forward.
Pete, I feel like there's a lot for you to respond to there. Last week on the pod, you were very strong on Carson Wentz busting, and Freedman was all over the Eagles. So there you go. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, last week was pretty tilting, not going to lie. There's some good things. My cash game team was like the Stone Nuts. If I entered my cash game team in the black free roll, would have won a seat to the DraftKings championship. I would have entered into the Mega Q, which I entered 3 times. It would have made it to the championship. And my Broncos got absolutely schwaxed. I mean, it was a disaster.
Yep.
I mean, I had the Broncos defense in some cash spots, and including my main team. And outside of just a miracle, sack touchdown, but, I mean, if you get that, you're hoping for a good score. Outside of that, I mean, we only got 6 fantasy points out of the Broncos. I mean, with that, it was just it was terrible. The Broncos offense, I mean, Wotweiler being in there certainly doesn't help things. I don't even know what else to say about the Broncos other than it was terrible. What is real, that is good news. The Rams offense, I think, is absolutely real. I think we have to really look at a lot of different things with them going forward. Gurley's going to be in play every single week. Goff was a gift last week in terms of his price, and I think they're going to be a really good GPP play every week and cash viable a lot of weeks as well. looking forward to that Rams-Eagles game. That should be a shootout when we get there. But, yeah, what's fake, I want to say that the Broncos defense giving up that many points is fake, but Matt just laid out a lot of nice data that's hard to kind of go against. So, yeah, in terms of what's fake, I think it's a little more challenging this last week because now we're getting into the part of the season where there's a little bit more data. And it's one of those things where you kind of have to take everything. One thing that I think for sure is fake is Adrian Peterson getting all these carries and putting up good numbers. I think that over the season he's going to kind of go the opposite direction, especially on this short week this week. I think it's dangerous to take him. I think a lot of people will, but I don't see him getting 37 carries and 160 yards going forward. So I was going to go with the Broncos route, but Freedman just shut me down, and I'll hang my head and let Sean talk about what's real and fake.
Sorry, man.
Well said.
All right, Sean, what's standing out to you?
So my real take, both my takes are just fantasy specific, but my real take is that Evan Ingram is just, the real deal at tight end. I know that once Odell Beckham went down and Marshall and even Shepard for those few weeks, I know people knew his stock went up, but I just don't think they really the market reacted to just how much stable a presence he was going to be in the offense. And he's averaged 9.5 targets since both stud receivers went down, and he scored a touchdown every game. And I think it's important a week like this. You don't have Kelsey, you don't have Gronk, you don't have Ertz on the main slate. Ingram's super expensive, but I think with tight end being such a dumpster fire this year, I think he's so good that he's worth spending up. He's established a really solid floor. So, it's kind of a no-brainer that he's the real deal. I just wanted to hit that home to, not even doubt him anymore. And Shepard's return doesn't really hurt him too much. There's still so many targets for him to absorb. And, if anything, Shepard might help defenses not key in on him so much. And for fake, I'm not sure if people are thinking this, but I just want to emphasize that Sammy Watkins is not back or he's not here to put up massive numbers the rest of the way. The Rams offense is good enough to sustain, a couple good wide receiver plays every week. But, he got the one catch for 67 yards and a touchdown, 2 targets. This is still, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, even Todd Gurley. They're going to dominate the target share. So I'm not buying Sammy Watkins. He's still a little bit on the cheaper side this week, so he's worth a couple flyers and GPPs. But I'm pumping the brakes on any hype that he's back or forming some chemistry with Goff.
Cool, yeah, good ones. On Ingram, I was actually looking up his data just a little bit ago. Over the last 4 games for the Giants, no pass catcher has even a double-digit target share, except for Ingram, who's over 25%. So, he's, their number one option by far. It's this ridiculous. Especially on DK where they're priced down a little bit. He's definitely intriguing even at the elevated price tag. All right, well, let's get into the slate here. As always, our next segment is talking about the chalk. So when we're making lineups this week, who are some of the first players that we're intending to lock in? Who are some of the chalky plays that we're fine with being in our cash game core? I do want to mention just real quick off the top before I kick it to these guys. Week 10 has 4 bye teams, so it's a little bit bigger slate than it has been the last couple of weeks. We have the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Eagles. So maybe a good thing that Pete doesn't have to roster or think about rostering Amari Cooper at his lower price tag. Sean, I'll kick it back to you for this one. Who are some cash game guys? Again, we are recording this Tuesday night, so that's always a caveat. We recorded last week, and then Deshaun Watson got injured, so it comes and it goes. So, but as of Tuesday night, who are some guys that are standing out to you?
Yeah, so the first thing I have to say is pricing is pretty tight. A lot of the little differences I have are just basically, projections I might differ with the public. But the one guy that really stands out, and now that we finally got clarity that Evans is suspended, there's not going to be some Zeke thing where it carries out. Adam Humphries at 3,100. He's not really some, troll guy that's min price. He averages about 5.5 targets a game. And then now that, Evans is out. And, they're going to have Fitzpatrick, who I think isn't that big of a downgrade from Winston right now. So, Humphreys, he's got to be mega chalk just based on his price. So I think it gives you a lot of options. You can afford either a couple stud running backs or a couple stud receivers. And then the only other thing you can do at quarterback is, there's so many guys near the top that I'd be willing to take in cash. But then, Ryan Fitzpatrick is super cheap. I was going to go with him if Evans was going to play, but I think right now I don't think there's going to be too many chalk heavy guys. I think ownership's going to be pretty spread out. So I think the main guy that everyone's probably going to have is Humphreys, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, it's a good call. I think he'll certainly be in play. Fitzpatrick, it's going to be interesting to see how this offense runs. For me, the first guys I think that are going to be chalk quarterback, I think there's two guys that really stand out if you look at it from a Vegas perspective and just guys that are trending in the right direction. Jared Goff, like I mentioned kind of off the bat, the Rams offense is for real. The markets have already reacted. The Rams have a 29-point implied total as we record this on Tuesday night. So I think Jared Goff is going to be in play in a big way. And you can make the argument Todd Gurley's in that same range for cash as well. The other quarterback that I think is right there, and he's right next to Goff and price tag on DraftKings, is Matthew Stafford going into this Browns defense. And I think Matthew Stafford makes a ton of sense this week going against this Cleveland defense, which has kind of been a funnel as well. So the one downside to both these guys is they are relatively expensive, and in general, we want to pay up at quarterback. But, yeah, I think those are two guys, and I agree with the points that Sean made.
Yeah, Freedman, hop in there. The Humphreys call is interesting. We just released our models for the first time here Tuesday night. Those will obviously be updated as we get notes and stuff throughout the week. But like in the Bales model, for example, on DK, Adam Humphreys is top of all wide receivers, mostly just because of his projected plus minus. So what are your thoughts on him and some other guys that are standing out to you?
Yeah, he's interesting. He has the matchup in the slot against Buster Skrine, who is one of the weaker quarterbacks in the league, and this is also on a secondary that isn't all that great. So the worst defensive back in that secondary. So it is a nice matchup for him. And Pete mentioned a couple of quarterbacks, mentioned Todd Gurley too. Another running back, you don't want to say like Le'Veon Bell and just like, hey, every week Le'Veon Bell, but he has an interesting matchup going against a Indy defense that is allowing the most points in the league to opposing offenses. So a nice spot for him. Antonio Brown is also interesting. Evan Ingram, Sean mentioned him at the top. Love the spot against San Francisco. They've been strong against tight ends up to this point in the year, but now they're without safeties Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart. So they are just totally exploitable back there in the secondary now, and the rest of their defense is just a mess. So a lot to like about Evan Ingram. He is expensive, but I think it is a spot where it's fine to pay up for him.
Yeah, so he is the highest priced guy on DK at 6'2", but there's really not like a super high price guy. 6'2" is really not that bad, especially if you consider him compared to a wide receiver. I know that's probably not fair, but the guy, if there's a wide receiver, do you do that at all? Do you sort of just ignore positions and then just look at a 6'2" guy getting 25-26% of his team's targets in a pretty decent game here? Do you care whether he's a tight end or a wide receiver?
No, not at all. I had Ingram all over. I played him in cash. I played him in every high stakes situation last week. His prop, it's not, DFS might have been slightly behind on him, but the props were definitely not. Last week his prop was, I believe, 55 yards. Over was minus 130. And he had a 5-catch prop as well, minus on the over, which is pretty rare for a tight end. So he's already a guy who's got a bigger prop than pretty much he had a bigger prop than Ertz before his injury was announced as well. He's a guy that, is kind of breaking the mold. Tight ends normally as rookies struggle, but he's not really a tight end, and that's not how they use him. If you look at his touchdown, they just see him in single coverage and throw it to him in the end zone, and that makes sense. He's 6'5", 6'6", and freak athlete, and especially with all the injuries they've had to the receiver position, I think he's a guy who's going to consistently see a lot of volume, especially in the red zone. So I have no problem going to him. I imagine his price is going to continue to go up as we go through the season, especially since the Giants are so bad. Just overall, they're going to be playing in a lot of garbage time spots. So I'm with the call. I really, really like him. And, the downside, I guess, is the secret's kind of out at this point. Hopefully we can still capitalize a little bit on it. But I do think the big opportunities will kind of pass us by in terms of a leverage spot being contrarian on it.
Yeah, and I will say that Cameron Brate, he's $2K cheaper with Evans out, and he's basically a poor man's Evan Ingram right now. I mean, Cameron Brate gets a huge target share with Evans out. He might be worth like $2K cheaper.
Yeah, not a bad matchup either as well. Good call. All right, let's move on here to some chalky fades and then some leverage and pivot plays. So which chalky players are we looking to perhaps pivot away from? And then who might be some leverage and pivot plays that we're considering here for week 10? Pete, I'll kick it right back to you here.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be really heavily owned that I want to pivot away from. It's a little tricky as we kind of get into it. I guess one spot that, I think is intriguing that people might really flock to is this Atlanta running back situation. I'm curious your guys' take. I don't have a strong take either way. Devontae Freeman's just been awful lately, but we have a price tag now at $6K on DraftKings, which would be really enticing normally. I'm not sure if it's a fade or if it's a play or if it's kind of neither. I know Coleman was getting more market share there for a little bit. Obviously, this Atlanta offense hasn't been as effective, but at home here versus Dallas, that price tag is certainly intriguing. What do you guys think about him as a play overall? And I know that doesn't really answer the question, but like Sean kind of said up front, it's hard to identify a ton of chalk at this point.
One thing, he's on my list as someone who's a potential pivot play, and it's in part because of why I talked with Levitan last night about him, and he doesn't think his ownership.
Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman. He doesn't think his ownership is going to be all that high. In part because he's been subpar for the last month. He's not getting the touches, but I think if you look at the reasons to play him, he's at home as a favorite going against the Dallas defense that is not good against the run. And then he's still, for the season on average, having a pretty good season. And then he has the most touchdowns in the league for running backs since he entered the league. So there's still a lot of things that are good about him. It's just the short-term history doesn't look good, but a lot of other things. So he's someone I would be interested in. Sticking at running back, I went with him last week, Orleans Darkwa. It sounds disgusting to even mention him, but he once again has another fantastic matchup. He's not playing all that many snaps, just around 25 snaps per game, but he is getting an absurd number of opportunities per snap. So 0.64 opportunities per snap. So basically, when he's on the field, they are giving him the ball most of the time as a runner, sometimes as a receiver. Going against the 49ers, the worst run defense in the league. They've given up, I think, 58, 59 touchdowns to running backs since Jim Harbaugh left. Just an absurd number. So a nice spot for him. And if there's anyone on that team who is a lead back, I guess it's Darkwa. And it's going to be a close matchup, presumably, just based on the spread. And so it doesn't seem as if there should be much reason for them to go away from a run-heavy game script, given that they have no wide receivers to throw to. So he's someone who's interesting. Keenan Allen in Jacksonville. It's like the kiss of death, but he is in the slot. That's the one thing. He will not face a lot of Ramsey or Boye. So I think if there's ever someone who is set up to have a decent game against Jacksonville, it is a stud receiver in the slot, and he's going to have low ownership. DeAndre Hopkins, it feels dirty to say him too, but he's made a career catching passes from bad quarterbacks. That's what he's done his whole career. Why should now be any different?
And the volume's so ridiculous.
The volume is still there. My feeling is that if there's a top 5 wide receiver who's getting double-digit targets at single-digit ownership, you play him. You don't go crazy with him, but you get exposure to him in GPPs. So he's someone that I'm interested in. 2 more guys, quarterbacks, disgusting to say this, but they're both going to have low ownership, probably Brock Osweiler and CJ Beathard. Both have really nice matchups. They're both horrible, but you never know. We've seen horrible quarterbacks do all right against subpar competition, and that's what both of those guys have this week.
Yeah, the Darkwood call is interesting. It's
I like
almost,
Darkwood.
Yeah, it's the same reason that we talked about Adrian Peterson last week. It's just like these are guys that you only want in a situation where there's going to be positive game script. And against San Francisco, that might be the only game left for the year.
Adrian Peterson went off against San Francisco 49ers on the road. Dark Slavs certainly can.
Did you see that? It was the most carries for any guy over 30.
Yeah, 37 carries.
He doesn't look that good running the ball. Like, I watched that game all the way back already. Like, yeah, he kind of still has some bursts sometimes, but he's mostly just like rumble. It's like an old Jerome Bettis or something.
It's like if someone punched David Johnson in the legs for 20 minutes and then gave him the ball 37 times, that's what he looks like.
He loves it, though. He loves being fed. He loves feeling. And I hate to say anything bad about Adrian Peterson. Friend of the podcast, Evan Silva, posted a video of one of his games that he's the best runner, of his generation. And totally. I mean, I think Adrian Peterson, you could argue, is like right there as the best running back of all time. Barry Sanders would be my guy, but I think Adrian Peterson is like literally right there. And I know there's some old school guys you could go to too, but I think he's pretty washed because a lot of people are still hitting me up like, oh, Adrian Peterson. And I don't know.
I think it says more about the 49ers than it does about Adrian Peterson.
The one time where I was clearly a fish was his first week when he was 3,200, had all the, narratives behind him, and they clearly wanted to get him involved. And I think it made sense to, kind of play that. I mean, he got a ton of red zone work that week. Obviously, they're effective on offense, but that was a more of a mistake fading him at 3,200. Now his price tag, I have no problem fading him at this price tag.
Oh, yeah, especially in games where he's not going to have positive game script. It's, not playable for sure. Sean, all right, have you given chalky fades and leverage pivot plays?
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with Freedman on this one. I have Keenan Allen flagged just because that range you have, Juju, I think, might be heavily owned. He put up that huge game a couple weeks ago, but that's still going to be on people's mind. Robert Woods, Sanu, Robbie Anderson, those type of players, I think will absorb some of the guys that, should be on Keenan. So I just think it's one of those matchups where, it's not great, but you get one of those 12 catches for 50 yards and no touchdowns from him, and he's, fantastic at that price. And, it's a tough matchup for Rivers, but we don't really care about Rivers' quarterback rating. We just want him forcing it to Keenan Allen. So I think he's a great play right there. Other than that, I really don't know where the chalk is right now. So, throughout the week, we might see some guys pop up in a bunch of articles. But, I think Golden Tate's going to be so heavily owned that Michael Thomas is right there. He'll probably be under-owned. He's one of those guys that people might just start to pass on, and then he could just, have an eruption game. I don't like the matchup at Buffalo. That's not really a spot where you target Breeze and Thomas, but this might be a week where, Golden Tate's going to be heavily owned. And, the way this year goes, Golden Tate will probably have a 0 at halftime or something. I'll be on Twitter, tilting over that. So I think Thomas might be a good pivot play, just based on game theory alone with everybody on Tate likely.
Cool. All right, let's keep moving here. Let's get to conventional stacks. So week 10 conventional stacks might be an interesting conversation, maybe a little tough to figure out here. Freeman, I'll start with you. Other than, the obvious Jared Goff, Cooper Kupp stack that I know that you're all over, what are some conventional stacks you're looking at?
Basically anyone else on the Rams, but especially Cooper Kupp. The Rams interested in, and then Cowboys and Falcons. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I would expect a lot of people to be on that. But I mean, it makes sense. It's just dominating the slate right now. The game with the next highest total is 46.5 with the Saints there, and then you also have the Rams in a game like that. But it's not a high-scoring slate in general. So I think that game is going to soak up a lot of stacking, just in terms of game stacking, people going with one side and then running it back with the other side. So that's what I would expect, and I would expect it to go with running backs and also with wide receivers, with some of the tight ends. I think people are going to be pretty heavy on that game.
Cool. Sean, I'll kick to you next. What are some of the conventional stacks you're looking at here in week 10?
Yeah, I think some of the obvious ones are, Stafford and Tate, like I mentioned, Stafford and Marvin Jones. So I think that's going to be a pretty chalky one in my opinion. Conventional one that I like that I don't even know if it's going to be chalky or not is Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. I'm going back to that well. It just seems like, I get so many excuses and reasons why Julio Jones sucks now. And I rather be all in on them, the week they have the eruption game as opposed to, wishing I had them. So I think this week I'm going to be pretty heavy on them. It's not really a contrarian stack, so that's why I'm using it in this conventional stack. But I just think that they might be a little bit underowned. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree with that, and I'd actually like to get your thoughts on this line. I'm surprised that it opened with the Falcons favored by 3, and I might just be a fish on this, but that's not where I would have put the line.
Yeah, I was surprised too, to be honest. I didn't know if there could have been some sharp Zeke money, knowing he would some legal thing where he'd be suspended this week, but. I think it just has to do with, the Falcons, they're almost the same offense as last year, moving the ball. They're just not putting up as many touchdowns. So, right. I just think they're due for some positive touchdown regression. Even though before the year started, I knew that they would regress a bit in that department. But I just think it's a week where they're going to finally figure it out and, not mess around in the red zone. Just throw it to Julio, get it to their guys. That's why, like you said earlier, I think this is a week to buy in on Devonta Freeman too. I don't think every week we're just going to see Melvin Gordon 3 touchdowns, Gurley 2 touchdowns. I think this is a good week to load up on Freeman and Julio. I just think the Falcons are going to put up points. That's basically all I see when I see that line. And the betting action's been all on Dallas, and the line's still creeping up on a key number at 3. So. A lot of sharp money coming on the Falcons. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Pete, I'll get your last thoughts on some conventional stacks. And I particularly want to know your thoughts on Eli Manning. If we expect Evan Ingram to be chalky, do you think that affects Eli Manning at all? Or is that just a guy that we don't touch just because, he just doesn't have like a super, super high ceiling, I guess?
Well, a couple comments to what Sean just said and to answer your question. Number one, Atlanta is interesting. That line's interesting. I thought the movement on Atlanta over Carolina was also kind of peculiar last week. It does seem like, in general, sharps are pounding Atlanta right now, hoping for regression the other way. We've seen so much regression the opposite way from last year, which was inevitable, but obviously not this much. So that is one thing I've been monitoring. I thought the move was really big, especially on Sunday morning, in favor of Atlanta in Carolina last week. That looked really sharp at first, easily could have come to fruition. Obviously, that drop by Julio was really gross in the end zone. Pertaining to Eli Manning, I think he's a fine stack with Ingram. I like Sterling Shepard as well. Really liked him at Oklahoma, and he showed some flashes last week. Obviously, this is a way, way better matchup. So I think that's definitely in play. Total here is still pretty low. I actually might like the over. And I'll need your guys' help here. I'm doing the 3 Donkeys podcast, my picks. I've been doing well in DFS. I have not been doing well on the bets. So any advice you guys have over there to help dethrone Bales and Levitan, I'd appreciate. In terms of other conventional stacks outside the Giants, we hit on all the Jared Goff ones. I think Big Ben to Antonio Brown or Big Ben to Juju or Big Ben Onslaught with all these guys could make a lot of sense. The key is figuring out who's going to do it for the Colts on the way back. Ownership's obviously going to go really heavy on T.Y. Hilton after last week, but there could be some other plays that make sense. I don't mind going like Doyle or something like that with the Steelers Onslaught and hoping that he just gets a bunch of garbage time touches. But, yeah, it's an interesting week. It's hard to kind of pinpoint where the ownership's really going to be heavy on. Maybe some news will break that'll change that, but it sets up really well to be a great GPP week, honestly.
Yeah, it's interesting with the Steelers. I think my guy would be Doyle, just because Hilton probably have high ownership, and the Steelers are, I think, the best team in the league at limiting plays of 20-plus yards down the field, which is obviously what you want from Hilton. So if you could get 10 receptions or something out of Doyle, that would be the guy that I would probably want to roll it back with. All right, let's keep on moving here. Let's go to advanced and contrarian stacks. Sean, I'll kick back to you first on this one.
So it's still early in the week, but one contrarian stack, at least Tuesday it's contrarian, I'm looking at is Dak and Bryce Butler. I'm expecting either Dez or Terrence to sit out. I can't imagine they both suit up this week. I've been waiting for a Bryce Butler game, so hoping I get it this week. But, yeah, it looks like Terrence Williams might be doubtful. I'm still trying to confirm what's going on, but, he might be dealing with a high ankle sprain. So if Bryce Butler is going to play most snaps, I need to see his price. I don't think it matters. I would just jam him in, but that could be a stack that might
4K.
go overlooked. 4K, yeah. I mean, it doesn't even matter. I would just hope he wouldn't be too chalky come Sunday. So I'm hoping we get like a surprise inactive on Sunday or something to keep the ownership down. But that's a stack I'm looking on Tuesday anyway. That it's looking like a good contrarian stack in my opinion.
Cool. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I like that. If it gets confirmed out early, it will not be very contrarian because Sir Adam Levitan will be promoting that stack. Bryce the God, that's one of his main guys there. So I love the call. I think it's Lord Aldrich. What does he call Bryce? He call
Christ Butler.
Christ Butler. Yeah, all these. Yeah, and now I think it's interesting. Sorry, I didn't want to go down a religious thing there with all Levitan stuff, but yeah, I mean, in terms of contrarian plays this week, I mean, it's hard to gauge ownership, like we've said a bunch of times. One thing that could be interesting to me, it's obviously not in the main slate, but how much is Tom Brady going to be owned on, like, say, FanDuel? Like, is Brady Gronk going to be a thing this week? I mean, we saw Burton obviously have a really nice week. That was huge with his cheap price tag. Is Brady going to be, kind of low owned relative to these other guys, especially on FanDuel where he is in the main slate? That's someone that I think is interesting. And if you want to piggyback on all the data that Freedman gave about how shitty the Broncos defense, that's certainly an intriguing play.
Man, Pete's swinging back to the other side here. What do you think, Freedman?
There's a lot of hedging here, that way Pete can sort of have it both ways. It can be like, I acknowledge that they're horrible, and then when they have a great game, he can be satisfied as a fan.
That's you got a good read on me, buddy.
Hey, it's the way to do it. One team that we haven't mentioned yet is the Saints, and I understand it because they're on the road. They do have a tough matchup against the Bills defense, but they're still like a top 3 offense in terms of, yards per drive, plays per drive, like some of those metrics. And they're shifting more towards the run. Ingram is fairly cheap. Kamara is fairly cheap. The Bills offense isn't really all that good. Like it wouldn't be shocking to see them held to only 7 points or something like that. And the Saints defense is good. I would for some contrarian play, I would be interested in something with those running backs and the defense for the Saints.
Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, a contrarian stack or just a different way of stacking is like a quarterback running back. I know, Pete, that you did a lot of that last week with Kamara and Breeze, right?
I was all in on Kamara and still screwed it up somehow. Great week, but I just don't. I don't know how that happened. I literally was all in. Kamara, Burton. I mean, one of these days I'll not be a donkey and figure out how to put the right teams in the right places. But Kamara. Whew, that was pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's easy to say after a great week and pat yourself in the back. But Kamara to me has always looked like the more talented player. I know Ingram's good, especially between the tackles, but there's something really special about Kamara to me. He has this electric burst. He's an amazing route runner as a receiver, which he gets unbelievable matchups. And Breeze has thrown to him deep down the field multiple times, connected last week. And I think he's just a play that's going to be awesome basically every week, at least in terms of upside, because he's playing on an offense with Drew Brees as the quarterback, one of the best offensive lines, and they have a ton of other weapons where you can't just kind of hone in on him. So it was nice to finally see him have a really big week. But, I think he's a nice contrarian play this week. Buffalo, I do respect their defense, but the Saints offense I think can win against any unit.
Cool. This is a little bit off topic. It's in a Thursday night game, but do any of you guys have any sort of opinions on the Seattle backfield with some of these injuries here?
Fade them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Lacey's confirmed out, so Rawls will be the nominal starter, but that only means so much.
Yeah, they set up McKissick, yeah.
Yeah, well, and Procyse is back, so yeah, just awful. I like how they just rely on Russell now, just him running and throwing. They don't even mess with the running backs too much. So yeah, too bad it's on the Thursday game. I don't really do those kind of slates, but I've been really heavy on Russell Wilson past couple weeks and loving it.
What a life!
Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Well, I also had a ton of Winston, so I didn't have a good week.
Man, that Seattle Washington game, like that was embarrassing by Seattle. Like Washington had no offensive linemen and couldn't win.
Yeah, and Wilson is ridiculous down the stretch. They do need to get better offensive line play. I hope it doesn't come to fruition this week, but hopefully we'll see flashes of Procyse being himself, because I think that's the guy long term we want to have. We want to make Russell Wilson stacks with Procyse and some of these other pass catchers. I think that's kind of what's going to unlock the most potential for this offense. But in the short term, I think it's really hard to invest in anyone, given how poor the offensive line's playing and kind of how they're playing offense in general.
Cool. All right, well, let's keep on moving here. Last segment before our skill game props. I'm going to ask each of you for a bold call. Pete, I'll kick it right back to you. I'd like a real football call and one bold DFS call.
All right, I'll say the 49ers finally win, and I know that's not that bold of a call. I guess it's only a 1-point dog. I was hoping it'd be a little different. The line's already moved against them.
That's really bold over one line.
I just want to say, one, that is totally weak sauce, and then two, you took mine. That's what I was going to choose.
Yep. See, Freedman, you and I, we're both the real football calls are tough.
Both lame.
I just think that San Francisco can play really well against this Giants team. I hope it's kind of a shootout. I think there's some really sneaky DFS stuff. The least sneaky is Ingram, but I really like him. We talked about Darkwa. And on the San Francisco side, hopefully we'll finally see some of these guys hit Lord Aldrich. I'm not sure. Jenkins, I know, is reinstated. I guess he's playing. I'll have to figure that one out. But hopefully there's some fancy goodness there. Hopefully San Francisco wins. And to make it bold, I'll say they win by more than a touchdown. And then from a DFS perspective, in terms of bold, this would be really bold, and I don't know if it's going to come to fruition, but I'll say Fitzpatrick is a top 5 quarterback this week, going off with Humphreys like Sean called it. Maybe it's Brait, maybe it's Djax, but we've seen some big games from Fitzpatrick in the past, and this is the ultimate
revenge.
Combination of revenge. We got McCown, we got Fitzpatrick, and all sorts of revenge narratives in this game.
Awesome. I respect that you got bolder with your Niners call. Yeah, you at least upped it to a touchdown.
Every time I make a bold call in real life football, it's just a disaster. So trying to go a little less bold.
I hear you. Freedman, what do you got?
I don't know if I really even believe in this, but I'm going to throw some shade on CSU Ram and be like, you couldn't take your Broncos at home, 7.5 dogs.
Sure.
Come on.
Let's go to the Broncos.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going with the Broncos.
Racking the Broncos has worked out really well for me this week.
Yeah.
This year.
I'm going with the Broncos, getting a win at 7.5 dogs against the Patriots. I don't know why I trashed that defense as a unit that can't stop opposing teams, but I think 7.5 at home is too much. And then in terms of DFS, I'm going with Keenan Allen. I'm not trusting the yardage, but I'm saying for a bold call, he gets 10 receptions and a touchdown. Like his touchdown inadequacy has just been epic this year. Like a third of the normal rate that he has in terms of touchdowns for target. So at some point he has to get in the end zone. So why not now?
Pete, what is all of this stuff with the quarterback situation in Denver say about Paxton Lynch?
It's not good for Paxton.
Well, he's also not totally healthy now, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to wait. We'll probably see him at the end of the year is my guess. But it's bad situation right now. I know this roster is not even bad. Like the rest of the roster, just the quarterback play and the offensive line has been so bad. And I think that's a big thing for the defense. I mean, the Eagles did an amazing job with their game plan against this Broncos defense, but it's hard for this Broncos defense when they know they have no hope and they're constantly on the field. So, yeah, hopefully the quarterback play gets better down the road. They're in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, it looks like Lynch almost ready to be back from the shoulder injury. So, yeah, maybe that'll make things better. But if he can't win that job, that's probably not a good sign. Sean, you got some bold calls for us?
Yeah, my bold call is actually Broncos to upset the Pats.
Nice.
Obviously, I'm not taking bets on it. I think, +7 is the way to go. But, yeah, these games in Denver with the Patriots are always fun. So it's just going to be a little bit closer than people think. Pats don't have Hogan likely. So, yeah, I just think they sneak it out on their defense. I don't think their defense is washed up or anything. I think they could slow down the Pats offense, and hopefully, the Broncos can muster up a few touchdowns. But I think they're going to just try to keep it a low-scoring game, set their pace, and then pull off the upset. But, I'm not going to take a 50-50 bet on it. I just think that's the closest thing you'll get from a bold call from me. And then in DFS, again, not so bold, but just the way things are going this year, my bold call is Julio Jones has a multi-touchdown game. Like I said, I think he's due. And I just think in general, my bold call on DFS is just we get a normal week. There's no mega chalk busts. There's no running back under 4K that's, third string or below that gets 3 touchdowns. I'm calling a semi-normal week in DFS. That's my bold call.
That's bold.
I know. Yeah. I think we're just due. It's been crazy. I love it, but I think we're due for a pretty, for as far as 2017 goes, a fairly normal week where I think
we're due for a 2016 week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just no Melvin Gordon triple dong. I'm just saying it's going to be pretty much what we predict. That's my bold call.
Wow, but that is one of the boldest calls we've had. But I like it. All right, let's get to it. The segment that people wait for, the prop games. We are going to throw out some props. Time to put some 6-packs of Coors Light into play. Let me go over last week. Here we go. Pete last week went 11-6. Freedman went 4-9. Freedman wasn't great.
I don't know what to tell you.
You hit on your Eagles stuff, and then nothing else.
That sounds about right.
It was bad. Pete was high on Kamara, both in DFS and his props, so that helped him for sure. I went 4-5. Pete maybe take approximately, so 9 bets on Adrian Peterson. So hit on some of them, whiffed on some of them. And then Raybon went 3-3. So year to date, Pete, man, you're dominating now. After a rough start, you're 92-80.
That's
Freedman,
fake. If you want to go to real and fake segment, we know that's absolutely fake. The volume's real. The record's fake.
Real. Yeah. And then after Freeman started out so hot, he was 15-20 over 500 there in the first couple of weeks. 71-90. He's on a cold streak. He's got to bring it back.
It's an epic losing streak. It's what I do best.
Yeah. I'm 47-42. And then our guests have had a little bit of a cold streak lately. They're 59-53, so creeping back towards 500. But Sean's back on, so I'm sure that number will go up. All right, let's get on to Week 10 props. Anyone have anything they're dying to throw at initially?
Well, okay, actually, here's one that's interesting. So I think Melvin Gordon is not good, but he is going against a running defense that is the worst in the league and a massive funnel in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm curious. I don't even know if I want to take action on this, but I am curious if there are people who have strong opinions on how that might shake out. Because if there is a Melvin Gordon game, this could be the game.
I'm skeptical that they're really a strong run funnel defense with Marcel Darius there now. They're a little bit stronger, I think.
I will short Melvin Gordon if anyone wants.
Yeah, what's the prop? Is it
man, see, I don't even.
Go, buddy.
I don't even. I don't know if I even want him. This is more of a curiosity thing. He's at 17 points on DK.
Under.
If we drop that to 15, I'll take over.
15.5 under.
I'll take the over.
That's a great over given his opportunity.
Yeah, I'll take the over if we're doing 15.5.
Oh, see, Freedman, look at you. You even get Sean on your side. But I'll give it to you since you're on a cold streak.
Yeah, I need it. That warmth is going to really do a lot for me. Okay, so got that one. Any thoughts on Gurley? Big home favorite. Like, it's a smash spot. Like, I'll take the over. If anyone wants the under, I'll take the over.
On 21.4?
Yeah, I have his projection at 21.5, so we could just do 21.5.
Awesome. We have a 21.4, so that's perfect.
Oh, cool.
21.5 is great. I'll take the over.
Who wants under? That's kind of the problem.
I think all of us want over. I'll tell you what. If you guys bump the line up, Sean, you'll go under.
Yeah, I'll take under.
All right. He's going to kill us.
Just to have some action on this. Yeah.
All right. We owe you. You take a prop that you like, and
this is why Sean's the GOAT guest, because he gets action in. Like Sean has the volume that we do. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't try to lump yourself in with Freedman.
I get the action.
Me and Freedman are on the same page.
We got to get that volume stuff.
I'll double down Ingram. I've been kind of the Ingram guy on this pod, so I'll take Ingram, and you guys can take any two tight ends. And top score wins.
All right, yeah, that's nice.
On DraftKings, right? No Gronk.
Yeah,
just the main DraftKings slate. So no Gronk.
Okay.
It's painful, but
right, I'll go Doyle, and I'll go. I think our Vernon Davis thing's too high. I'm gonna take ASJ. Doyle and ASJ for me.
Over Brait, huh?
I
like Brait too, and I think also Vernon Davis is interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to do man, this is kind of brutal. I'll do Brait. I like that they're using him pretty much as a receiver, like a wide receiver and then slot receiver. He's playing not much in line. And then I'm going to go with Kyle Rudolph against Washington, which has a decent secondary in terms of wide receivers, but is just horrid against tight ends. Yeah. So, I'll go Brait and Rudolph.
Right.
Yeah, I feel so bad. I mean, I love Ingram so much. So I'll give you a clause. If you want Reed or if you want Vernon Davis with a clause only if Reed is out, I'll even give that to you.
Yeah, I what's the stat? I know Reed I saw was like questionable.
Yeah, I think he's questionable. I mean, he's probably a true 50-50 chance at this point. Obviously, if he's out, Vernon Davis is a fantastic play. So, if you want to have him, with a clause, if Reed sits, you have Vernon Davis. I'll even offer that.
So you guys like Vernon Davis against Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, if Reed is out, yeah, I mean,
you're not worried about the matchup, yeah.
Not on this week. Tight ends behind Ingram.
Bad enough,
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you guys want that clause, if not, that's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
mean, that's fine. I get it. I think I'm going to stick with who did I pick? Brait and Rudolph. Yeah, I'll sync with that ship.
I'm gonna go Doyle and Brait. All right.
Okay, so let's see here. I'm interested in some DeAndre Hopkins action. So we have him at 15.6 points. I'll take the over if anyone wants under.
Yeah, I'll take under.
Sure, I'll give you action on the under, even though I love Hopkins and stacks. I think that this is a week where, to me, there's some clear GPP game stack spots that could just pay massive dividends.
Yeah.
And this is a huge one for me. I mean, Rams play at the fastest pace. They are going to throw a ton, even with Gurley. And I expect the Texans to be, throwing from behind. Obviously, it's savage. Obviously, it's gross. But we saw in garbage time Hopkins do well, and I think Hopkins could be a great play running it back if you're going to load up with Cooper Kupp and a lot of these pass catchers. So I do like him, but I'll take the under to give you action.
Thank you. That's one thing. I think it's going to be a big volume spot for him.
Yeah.
I agree.
Would you take Hopkins over Tate?
Look at Bryan trying to get in here.
Let me see. Yeah. If we want to add something to this, I'll take Hopkins. You can take Tate. That's fine.
I want that.
Yeah, I'd be on Tate's side.
I'll take Tate.
Sweet. Just tripled y'all up.
See, Freedman, you're smart right now. When you're in the hole, all you got to do is just get as much leverage.
Yeah, because either I win or I go further in the hole, and it doesn't matter.
It's a win-win. I mean, even if you go down, who cares? Then people have to be nice to you. You know,
Exactly.
I like it. I'll go back to Kamara. I'll take Kamara versus Ingram with some points or something like that, or whatever. I don't think this is like a smash spot like I did last week, and obviously everyone's kind of aware of him now. But
do you think you get points this week?
Whew.
What's up?
You think you're getting points this week? That's what you're saying?
I mean, it's not a great spot, really, either way.
Yeah.
I mean, so right now we
my guy.
Yeah, we have 16.8 for Ingram, and we have 15.5 for Kamara.
Yeah, I think we gave you 3 points last week.
Give me a half point with Kamara. Split the difference. Give me a half point with Kamara if you guys want Ingram person.
Yeah, I'll take Ingram. I'll give you a half point with Ingram.
Yeah, I'll take Ingram too. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just got to stay leveraged on Kamara.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Any thoughts actually flipping to the other side of that game? We haven't mentioned McCoy yet, but he was getting volume. He had that one horrible game last week, but still getting volume. And going against a defense that is still pretty vulnerable against the run. That's the one thing with the Saints. Although they've improved on defense, it's pretty much been in the passing game, still exploitable with running back. So what are your guys' thoughts on McCoy there? We have 20.5, which just feels high, but I don't know. I would be interested in taking some action on the over if we maybe bump that down a little bit.
Yeah, I have him at 20 right now. And we'll get to see. I don't know how Kelvin Benjamin's going to help. He might cut into his target share. I don't know yet, but McCoy, he's been racking up catches this year, so he's been kind of relying on that. I'm not going to have much McCoy this week, but yeah, he definitely burned me last week. This is a great matchup for him, but I'm kind of waiting to see how Kelvin's going to shape that offense. I think they might instead of dumping off to McCoy as much, throw to Kelvin. So
yeah, I mean, I think it could be a spot where he goes under-owned. Because he's coming off of a bad matchup, but then 2 played on Thursday night, and so there have been 10 days for people kind of to forget about him, and then the last image that they do have is one that's negative. If we bump it down to 20, I mean, I don't feel great about it, but I'll take the over if some people want the under.
Yeah, I'll take under 20.
Yeah, I think you're getting the.
I'll take under 20. Yeah. I'll take under 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I take the over just to make some sort of statement of I think he's not horrible this week.
All right, Pete. I'm gonna throw out a prop. Here we go. I will take, and I know all you guys will hop on this. I'll take Jordan Howard over Devontae Freeman. They're like the same price.
Sure. If you're throwing out a prop, I'll take it. I'll take Freeman.
Let me see here. Same price?
Yeah, I think so. 6K, right?
I'm just giving it to you right away. Friedman's doing some diligence here.
I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll take it too.
You guys were so high on Devontae Freeman. I was trying to give you a pivot play away from him.
I mean, we have Jordan Howard projected for just a little bit more, like a tenth of a point more. So, we're basically – I mean, it's – I don't know if it's a coin flip, but it's pretty close.
Yeah,
Doesn't it mean that Jordan Howard's a pretty nice pivot play? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I like Jordan Howard with the Bears defense a lot this week.
Yeah. The Bears are 5.5 point favorites right now. I think that's where they opened.
Yeah, it was. They were 3. They were 3, and then the Packer Monday night game happened, and then it moved up to 5. So,
I saw some injuries on the offensive line throughout the game. I'm not sure. I need to look back, look and see this Green Bay offensive line, what the status is for all their guys going into this game, but Chicago's front should be able to win in a big way here, and I think Hundley's going to start pushing the ball more and more down the field, or at least try to. It's pretty clear they can't just, do these gimmicky plays and keep it in front of them. So I expect some adjustments and for him to start pushing the ball down the field a little bit more, which I think will lead to some big opportunities for the Bears defense.
Yeah, I like that correlation play quite a bit.
Yeah, they should control the lead, so we could get one of those 30+ carry games from Howard.
Yep.
I love
and 20 plus from Tariq Cohen. They can 50 carries.
Trubisky, I might project for like 120 passing yards or something. That's always fun. But yeah, they kind of remember college football DFS projecting like Georgia Tech, I think it was, for like 26 passing yards and just run the crap out of the ball.
Yeah.
So I think it's a sneaky spot for Howard for sure.
It's amazing that Georgia Tech, because I'm an ACC guy, that's right where I live. So it's amazing that Georgia Tech has so many just like amazing Hall of Fame receivers, And like you're saying, it's 26 passing yards. It's incredible. All right, let's keep the props rolling.
So I got
ahead,
a QB one. I got a QB one for you guys. I could either make it. You guys just pick four. Yeah, let's just do that. You take any four quarterbacks, and I'll just take the field. So basically,
I love that.
Just give me your top four quarterbacks each, and then I'll take the field.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll take, and this is main slate or all slate.
Yeah, main slate. So no Brady.
Main DraftKings slate, to be clear,
yep,
right?
Yep, main DraftKings slate.
Okay, Stafford, Goff, Prescott. And I guess Prescott and Ryan are close. I like Big Ben too. I'm trying to think.
Those are my four.
With
Goff, Goff, Stafford, Prescott, and Big Ben. Those are my four.
It's either those four, and I'm debating if I should take Matt Ryan over any of these guys.
I'll take. I want Goff, Stafford. I want Ryan instead of Roethlisberger.
Right now, we have Ryan ahead of Big Ben, and the road splits are awful. But
the fast track in Indy, though.
I know the only problem is like game flow. Game flow could be very bad for Big Ben. I'm going to go Ryan. I think Stafford, Prescott, Goff, Ryan, and it's whoever has the highest score. Right?
Yeah. So you're trying to go with a high
going for ceiling
guy.
Yeah, I'm going to take the ceiling. I'll cover that Atlanta Dallas game. Yeah.
Okay.
Who would you take, Sean, if you're taking four?
That's the thing. That's why I was struggling in that cash pick segment. I have, Stafford, Ryan, Big Ben, Breeze, Prescott, Goff. They're all basically the same.
You end up with Breeze. You end up with Big Ben. Tyrod Taylor could have a big.
Yeah, for this exercise, I'd probably go Stafford, Ryan, Big Ben, and Dak.
Leave Goff off there, huh?
Yeah, I just think that game could get out of hand. They probably don't need Goff to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think that would just be a strategic play for just, trying to get the top scorer. But yeah, obviously he's up there. I just have it pretty much, any combo of those four will get you, close to, pick them on who's going to be the top scorer, because you don't really have much competition outside of that. So, by letting you guys pick those guys, I'm stuck with Dalton and Bortles, Rivers. So
CJ Beathard.
Yeah. So it's sort of just getting 10 to 12 of those guys to compete with your four. So I just worked it out. It's a pretty fair prop if you want to just
you get Trubisky and Savage too. Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, okay. So I have a prop. Actually, it's not exactly a prop. No, I want to get Sean's feedback on something. So Sean, as you guys know, and people listening to this, is the overlord of the Fantasy Pros accuracy competition, where he's just slaying in the number one spot. Number one right now, number one for the past 2 years running. I believe, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong in that.
Yeah.
I have been lowly at number 15 and number 13 or 12 for the past couple of years. Right now, I am number 12, and I am wondering what my odds are to break into the top 10 by the end of the season.
So I crunched those. They have the week 9 results up. I haven't looked yet, but
they do.
Yeah, but I will say I have a model. It's completely, just algorithm driven. no bias whatsoever. And based on the last 2 years combined, you were like the number 5 in my power ratings. So I think you've just been getting unlucky. So I'll have to recalc that, but you're close to like a 50-50 cracking top 10. There's just so much competition right there.
Right.
I'll give you a prop for that, Freedman, if you want. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll give you, maybe we'll make that worth a couple extra or something like that for the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah.
A little motivation. We'll make that worth like a full 6-pack of Coors Lights.
We'll think about this.
But
I'm willing to put something else out there if you want to.
I think with this year they dropped the lowest score, and it's not your worst week. It's just the week that everyone sucks on. So it's that accuracy gap, and it was week 3 for us, for all the experts, because it was so crazy. And I think we both had pretty good weeks that week, so that's the score that they dropped. So on paper, your rating is going to be a lot better, but since they dropped that kind of hurt you. At no fault of your own. So I don't know. I haven't looked. Like I said, I haven't looked this week, but maybe this week was so bad that this is the score that they dropped. So this would have been a good week to do bad. So you kind of had some rough luck in that. But like I said, top 5 raw power ratings going forward. So
all right, that is encouraging, because I would not have put myself in the top 5 in power. I was number 5.
Yeah, like I said, it's 100% automated, running a lot of things I do for football. So it's not something, since I like you're top 5. This is purely automated.
All right. I'm going to start taking some props on this. I'm going to find some people who are fading Freedman.
Yeah, Pete, we need to bring him down. His ego is getting way too up here now.
I like it. We always got to keep him even keeled over there. I like that. I do think it's interesting, though. I think that's a good motivational. That's like a good just overall prop. And Freedman, I will be your source of liquidity if it comes to it. Let's see here. I want to throw out some tight ends outside of Ingram. Maybe you guys want to do a draft if we take Ingram out?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of interesting. Like a 1, and then you get 2 picks, and then a 4th pick.
Sure.
I'll do that versus ball, you guys. You can tell me which side you want. I can go with you first, Sean, if you want.
So I get first pick?
You want the first or 2-3? We take Ingram off the board, main slate.
I'll take first pick.
Okay.
I'll take Doyle.
Okay. I will take Safarian Jenkins and Brait.
So do I pick next, or?
Yep,
you get one more.
I'm not really sure on Delaney's status. I'll just go Kyle Rudolph.
Okay, cool. Freedman, what do you want?
I will do 2 and 3.
Okay, I'll take Doyle.
Okay, let me look at this. I will do. Might as well. I'll do Brait and Rudolph.
Okay, I'll take Safarian Jenkins.
I'm gonna get smashed.
Yeah, let's see. Bryan, which side do you want?
I'll go first with Doyle.
Okay, I'm going to take Safarian Jenkins and Brait.
Okay. Rudolph it is.
Cool. All right, we can do the same thing.
I thought that was fairly fair on both sides, honestly.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Let's talk some high-end receivers here too, because I think that's another intriguing spot this week that we could look at. We could do the same kind of thing with the draft. I mean, I don't know what you guys want to do here with wide receiver.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Let's do a draft.
So what should it be? Should it be, because I think there's a very clear number 1.
Yeah, you want to do like 1-4-6 or something like that?
Let's do 1-5-6 versus 2-3-4.
Okay.
Who wants to be the main guy taking all the action here? I'm happy to do it again, or if someone else wants to, it's fine. I can do it. I'll take the ball.
You do it.
Okay, Sean, what side do you want?
Freeman, you want to catch up, man?
Yeah.
Can't be tentative.
All right, screw it. I'll do it.
Yep,
there he is.
Fire in the hole.
There he is.
But I don't.
What side do you want?
I don't want the number one. I don't know.
See, he has an opinion here. I'll take it. I'll do it both ways. I don't care.
Okay.
You can take all the action on the next prop. Sean, what side do you want?
I'll take the whatever I get the number one pick. Whatever.
Okay. So it's 1-5-6 versus 2-3-4. Highest score wins.
I'll pass on Brad. I'll take 2-3. Yeah. I'll pass on the first pick. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I'm taking Brown.
Okay. Fair enough. So I get 2-3
and 4.
And 4. You get the next 3 guys.
Okay. So Julio, AJ Green, and Hopkins.
Damn. Okay. And I'll take.
That's strong.
It gets brutal after that 4th pick.
No.
I mean, you have Tate with the.
I'm taking Tate.
Yeah.
I'm taking Michael Thomas.
Yep.
Freedman, you want the 2-3-4 again?
Whatever. I'll give you some relief. I'll take number one.
I don't mind being leveraged on the 1-5-6 here.
Okay. I mean, no, I'll do one. I'll do Brown.
Okay, I'm gonna take Julio, Hopkins, and Tate. I'm gonna leave AJ Green out there.
AJ Green, he's so scary.
I would take him for sure in your spot.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Oh, okay, I'll do Green, and I will do. You took Tate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want Michael. Thielen. I'll do Thielen.
Wow. Okay.
He's actually ranking pretty highly in our ceiling rankings.
Too. I don't think he's a bad pick.
He's always really high in our ceilings. I don't know if it's like a comp or something like that. But
yeah, it's the target volume and the fact that he's catching a really high percentage of his passes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What side do you want, Brian?
I'll let you have Antonio.
You want Antonio?
No, you can have him. I'll take.
Okay, Antonio.
I'll let you have Antonio. That was nice phrasing.
Go ahead, Brian. Take your 2-3-4.
Yeah, I'll take Julio. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins, and then I'll take Tate as well. I'll skip out on AJ Green.
Okay, so I'll take AJ Green and Thomas. Nice little hedge thing there I got.
I like it.
Let's kick into some defenses.
Yeah.
Let's end it with some defenses. I think that's a good call. We want to do a draft, or what do we want to do here?
Yeah, let's do the draft. I'm fine with taking action. Taking action on this one. Although I don't feel super confident in any of my defensive capabilities, but whatever.
You can take some action.
I'll take action on it.
You can take some action on some kickers after this, Freedman?
No.
So what's the shot? What's fair defense? Should we do a 2 versus 2, like 1-4 versus 2-3, or should we do something
for defense?
Yeah.
Anything we do is gonna be fair. It's defense.
I also like taking 1, and then the other guy goes 2, then 3, and then the guy who went 2 gets 4-5. It's kind of interesting to me. Probably not fair though. The 3 defense is probably a lot better.
So 1-3 versus 2-4-5.
I mean, yeah, Sean, you come up with the prop here. You're the king.
I mean, I don't have defense probabilities queued up or anything. So I mean, I would just treat defense straight up.
Yeah, I
don't think there's going to be anything.
1-4 versus 2-3. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, just regular snake draft. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take action on this. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'll take the 1. I'll take the Lions.
Okay. I will do Rams and Steelers.
Yahtzee. Jags.
Yeah.
Those are the top 4 by far, I think. Chicago's defense is the 5th one that I really like, but I think, those 5 are definitely the clear cut. So I have Detroit and Jacksonville. Sean, you want to go next against Matt?
Yeah. So do I go first or
you can pick 1 or you can do 2, 3, whichever one you want.
I'll do 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go Jacksonville.
Okay, I will do Lions and I will do Rams.
Okay, I'll take Bears.
Okay. Sweet. Brian?
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll do 2-3.
Okay. I will do Lions.
Okay. I'm gonna do Jacksonville. Yeah, I mean, I guess the right pick is the Rams, but I'm gonna have a conviction here and go Chicago. So
Sweet.
Detroit, Chicago.
I will do
Jacksonville,
Rams.
Chicago. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do Rams.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, boys. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
I got some Millie Maker props just for fun.
Please.
Oh, yes. This is awesome.
So, winning score, 228.5.
228.5. Okay.
Over.
Okay.
It's pretty big conviction there. I'll do the under.
Oh gosh. I know this is a fair line, so I could just probably pick either.
Yeah,
yeah.
I picked it so you can go either way, but it'll just make it more fun rooting for the winning score.
I'm gonna go over.
Okay.
I love that Sean's just the market maker. It makes this segment so fun.
Yeah.
And then the other one I made, no real math behind this. I just think this is a good one. Over under number of players from the Dallas Atlanta game, 1.5, in the winning team.
Under.
Yeah, I like that. I'll do under.
Okay.
Yeah, under.
Okay. I got killed.
I think it's a good one. I have conviction on a couple of their game stacks coming to fruition, but I think the chalky guys like Julio and Freeman and Zeke. I mean, there's a lot of guys here, so I think that's a really good one.
Dak. It'll be a heavily on game.
That's how you win right away is Dak and Bryce. I mean, what if that comes to fruition?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ Butler. I mean,
hope.
yeah, come on. Yeah, odds that.
Or it'll be
receiver.
Cole Beasley double dong again. Watch.
As this happens all the time.
That was extremely.
Hey, Sean, one last question here. So there's a sports book online that has will Andrew Luck ever play for the Colts again? Yes, negative 170, no, plus 140. What are your thoughts?
Well, I had the same exact injury as him. And
it ruined your NFL career.
Yeah, it ruined my golfing career. But yeah, it's tricky, and he put the surgery off so long, he probably got bone spurs just like I did. I had the same exact injury, and I kept golfing in pain, and they said that really, messed me up long term. So I'm no doctor, but I've been dealing with the same exact thing. I don't really know. I would bet on yes, though.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
Sean, one last one for you. Bales and I put quite a bit of money on this. Curious what your opinion is on this one. We bet our friend Joe Ingram that he can't do a full podcast, at least 30 minutes, in Mandarin a year from now. Well, it's like 11 months. So he has to. He didn't even know Mandarin was Chinese when we made this prop bet. Do you think he has any chance to complete this prop?
No way. Isn't that like the toughest language in the world or something?
One of them.
I mean, this is outside of my expertise, but yeah, I would hammer no. He has to. Is there some? He can't just sit there.
He's getting 6-1. He's getting 6-1 on it. So no is clearly the thing. Do you feel good about where Bales stand giving 6-1?
What are the rules? He can't just say the same word over and over again.
It has to be a fluent conversation. Ask questions and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's.
You get to pick 5 judges to determine if it's.
Oh man, yeah. Good. No, yeah, you're on the right side there. That's.
Would it sway your opinion to know that this guy's never lost I think he's lost like one prop bet. He wrote a book. He didn't masturbate for 5 months. He had some other amazing feats. I don't know.
How do you prove that?
I know that one is very subjective and so.
This might be going too far. That would be impressive.
Yeah, if he does it, I'll be stunned.
Yeah,
I think the fact that he is 1/12 of the way into this and he hasn't moved to China yet, like that is pretty big. Like he has no time to waste.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, no, the line seems high, but yeah, that's one of those lines that you don't care how high the line is, you just take it because it's gonna be closer to 99% than you think. But
it felt good when all these sharp bettors were like, "Hey, I would have given you like 20-1 or whatever, and like a lot more money." So 45,000 is significant, but
6-1.
That's not like I feel like if it was life or death, I would die. Versus like I would try my hardest. I just don't think I would be able to pull it off.
Right.
Yeah. So
all right.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. On that note, we will end it there. Thank you guys for listening, and Sean, thanks for coming back on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, we can follow you at _oddsmaker on Twitter. So definitely go do that and check out all of his work across the industry.
You're failing at life if you're not following Sean.
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, you're probably a losing DFS player.
Prepare for the Golden Tate tilt Sunday, about an hour after lock.
Yep, it'll be real. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Good luck in week 10. We'll talk to you guys next week.